The race for Ohio governor is starting to take shape with a crop of candidates jumping into the race ahead of 2026. As they hit the campaign trail, we are spending 5 minutes at 5 with the candidates right here on 21 News at 5. We have heard from the Republican candidates. Now it is the Democrats' turn. Former Ohio Department of Health Director and Valley native Dr. Amy Acton is running, and she joins me here now. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It is wonderful to be back in Youngstown.
Yeah, you call yourself a problem solver, and you say some Ohioans are struggling right now. Can you share more about that message and why you're running for governor?
Well, thank you. Youngstown is such a huge part of my life and my origin story. And I had a pretty scrappy childhood in Youngstown. So when I say what I'm saying next, it comes from a lot of life experience. I'm running for governor because I refuse to look the other way while Ohioans continue to struggle and our state keeps going in the wrong direction. I have a bond with Ohioans that formed during COVID. We were just talking before going on air. It was a privilege of a lifetime to get to know Ohioans the way I have. And everywhere I go around the state, folks are sharing with me both, the fact that they wish to have a little bit more breathing room in their lives, that it's the cost of eggs and gas, certainly, but they're talking a lot about childcare. They're talking about trying to age in place and not have their property taxes go too high. And they're talking a lot about safety. And they're talking about jobs and just feeling a little bit more breathing room. And so, I'm a doctor, I'm not a politician, but I fell in love with the people of the state of Ohio. And I'm running because I will do everything in my power to make this state the best place to live and raise a family. And I've had the privilege of being able to dream big in America and dream big. And a lot of those gifts were given to me from my childhood in Youngstown.
And many Ohioans know you from the daily press conferences during the onset of the COVID pandemic and the shutdowns. You talked about flattening the curve in terms of the cases for COVID, and we all remember the charts in the background. While some have praised your efforts, others have criticized your recommendations on social distancing, shutdowns, and masking. Do you have any regrets on those decisions?
Everyone always learns a lot from running a crisis. We do sort of a postmortem to learn what we did. And what I can tell you is there's nobody that went unscathed during COVID. It was one of the hardest crises we've ever faced, at least in our adult lives. And I am so proud of Ohio, how it led. Ohioans flattened the curve. We were able to react quickly, gain control of the virus, and then open much more quickly than a lot of others did. Certainly, there are always lessons that we would learn, and I've been calling for a long time for a very formal look into that so that we can do the next emergency we face even better. But, in Ohioans, I had the privilege of watching folks help save one another, and I hear their stories everywhere I go. I hear about how many we lost, but I also hear incredible heroism. So I'm very proud of Ohioans from the pandemic.
You eventually left your post as the Ohio Health Director. Why did you decide to part ways with the role?
It was an honor and a privilege to serve with the governor, and the work we did was tireless. Many mistakenly got in the press that I stepped down because of protesters. We had protesters and issues from March on that was going on the entire time. But my reason for stepping down, quite honestly, was that there was pressure coming from the Speaker of the House to sign orders, pressure on the governor and I, that didn't fit the role of the health director. It wasn't science-based, it was special interest-based. It's one of the big problems I think we face in Ohio is special interests, continuing to take our state in the wrong direction. And in this case, Larry Householder wanted something that, quite frankly, would have endangered and possibly killed people. So I refused to sign that order. But what I did promise the governor is that I would continue to advise him, which I did and had continued to do on health issues. And look, we need leaders who are public servants, who put the well-being of Ohioans first, who care and put common purpose, common values back at the forefront.
Why do you believe you can win the governor's race in Ohio, as Ohioans' voting record has shifted more red in the state, and it's been 2 terms since a Democrat has been in office?
Yes, well, as you know, I am a doctor. I'm not a politician, and the thing I'm most not is a political pundit. But I can tell you, I would not be out here running if I didn't see a path. We have some really great numbers that show there is a path in Ohio. I would love to see a purple state again. I think many people share that wish. We know that it works best when we gather people around the table to solve problems, and we welcome people from all sides of the aisle, because problems don't care if we are a Democrat or a Republican. They just need solved, and we need leaders who don't make problems but actually solve problems. And that's why I'm running for governor. I can tell you, I am in love with the people of Ohio. I am the beneficiary as a kid of having a rough childhood, being homeless, having people help me get through. Public education saved my life. Libraries saved my life. And, you know, I want to see every kid have that opportunity in Ohio. And right now, that is not the case. We're actually going backwards. And so I'm running for office because I will never turn my back away. I refuse to look the other way while people are suffering. And Youngstown is a big part of that. And when we do our formal rollout, you will see me coming from Youngstown.
All right, Dr. Acton, thank you so much for joining us right here for 5 minutes at 5.
Thank you so much.